And the big question is, do all preamps sound the same? In my humble opinion, no. Beautiful people, hope you're having a great day. This is Studio Visitor, my humble niche on YouTube, talking about gear philosophy and history. And gear it is we're going to talk about today. There was a video going viral on YouTube from Jim Lill with the bold claim all preamps sound the same. And of course there was some other fellow YouTubers saying he's right, he's wrong, and blah 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 this, blah 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 that. I'm not here to debate anything of that. But since we're living in the wave of AI, I found it very interesting to hear what is the opinion of ChatGPT on this matter. So I made some prompts, and I improved my prompts with Prompt Cowboy, and I stripped down all the audio of the videos, and I made ChatGPT analyze all of it, form an opinion, write a script for the voiceover. I cloned Jim Lill's voice with VoiceBox to use in this video. I generated with ChatGPT some images, and with Google Flow the video, and I wrapped it all together with DaVinci Resolve. Now, before we start the video, I got one little question. Please, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Like the video, or even better, subscribe to my channel and drop a comment. We're stepping into the bubble. After the bubble of AI, I will give you my own opinion, and I know you don't care, but I got some very interesting facts to mention on this topic. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go.
Part 1. Introduction.
What if one of the most debated pieces of studio gear barely matters? That's the question behind one of the most talked about audio tests online. In that famous video on YouTube, Jim Lill tested some microphone preamps and suggested something bold. All preamps sound the same. If that's true, it's a big deal. Preamps can cost hundreds or thousands of dollars, and some people spend that much chasing one magic box that will supposedly make their recording sound more professional. But if the test was too limited, the conclusion could be misleading. This video isn't about defending expensive gear or attacking Jim Lill. His test is useful. The real question is, did it prove all preamps sound the same, or only that in one setup under specific conditions the difference was small? That distinction matters, because in audio, small details can become big arguments. Here's how we'll break it down in 5 parts. 1. This introduction. 2. An AI analysis of the test's logic using ChatGPT. 3. A look at what other YouTubers said in response. 4. What Jim's test got right and where it could have been stronger. 5. A practical takeaway for anyone recording music at home or in a studio.
Part 2. The AI analysis.
A microphone preamp has one basic job: take the very quiet signal from a microphone and make it louder. But different preamps behave differently. Some are designed to stay very clean, making sound louder without adding much color. Others are loved because they add character when pushed harder: thickness, brightness, grit, saturation, or a different reaction to loud peaks. Think of it like cooking. Whether you microwave, grill, or pan fry food, you're still heating it, but the method changes the result. A clean preamp is like a neutral oven. A colored preamp is more like a grill. Used gently, the difference is small. Pushed harder, it becomes obvious. This is where Jim's test gets interesting, but also limited. If the preamps were mostly used cleanly, small differences aren't shocking. Good modern preamps are supposed to be clean, and today's decent audio interfaces are often surprisingly good too. That part of the test is valuable. It pushes back against gear mythology because the audio world is full of vague words: warmth, depth, mojo, three-dimensional sound. Sometimes those words describe something real, sometimes they're just marketing or people hearing the price tag. But here's the problem: I didn't hear a big difference in this test is not the same as all preamps sound the same. That's a logical jump, like testing 2 cars at low speed in a straight line and concluding all cars perform the same. What about acceleration, cornering, or braking? The same applies to preamps. You have to test them where differences are most likely to show up. Different microphones, different sources, different gain levels, and what happens when they're pushed. There's also the microphone itself. A microphone and a preamp interact electrically. The technical word is impedance. Depending on the pairing, that electrical load can slightly change the tone, level, or response, much like pushing the same shopping cart across smooth floor, carpet, and gravel. So here's my finding. Jim's test is useful if the question is, are clean preamps often more similar than people think? Yes. But if the question is, did he prove all preamps sound the same? No. That conclusion is too broad.
Now, before we continue with the video, I want you to know I took 14 videos to make ChatGPT analyze the differences and what they have in common. All sources are in the video description.
Part 3. Comparison of different perspectives from other YouTubers.
Looking at different response videos, a pattern emerges. Most critics don't reject Jim's test, they reject the size of the conclusion. The shared criticism is simple. He tested too narrow a situation to make such a wide claim. Those preamps may have sounded similar in that setup, but that doesn't mean every preamp sounds the same in every situation. A second common criticism is about saturation. The character gear adds when a signal is pushed hard. Some critics argue that testing a colored preamp only in its clean range misses the point of why people like it. Engineers don't usually buy a tube or transformer preamp to use as an invisible volume knob. They use it for how it reacts when driven, thickening a vocal or adding edge to a snare before any plugin is added. Not all critics argue equally well. Some make a solid technical case, others reach for extreme examples, pointing to an obviously colored box and saying, "See, preamps sound different." That proves an extreme device can sound extreme, not dramatically different in normal use. It's like proving one hot sauce is spicy and claiming all sauces are. The more balanced YouTubers are the most convincing.
Yes.
People exaggerate gear differences, clean preamps can sound very similar, and beginners shouldn't obsess over expensive gear. But also, one test doesn't prove all preamps are identical, and a test that avoids the color zone can't fully judge colored preamps. That balanced position is the strongest because the truth sits in the middle. Some focus on the practical side. For most home studios, the preamp probably isn't the first thing holding you back. If your recording sounds bad, the problem is more likely the room, mic placement, the performance, or the mix, not a missing vintage preamp. Others focus on professional work, where small choices matter, stacked across many tracks, tiny differences add up. And sometimes, a preamp simply helps an engineer commit to a sound faster.
Part 4. Conclusion. What's good and what could be better.
Part 4, conclusion, what's good and what could be better. What did Jim's test get right? It challenged gear worship at a time when the recording world needs more people testing claims instead of repeating them. It reminded people that expensive gear isn't automatically better. A great performance through a decent interface beats a weak performance through a legendary preamp every time. And it showed that clean preamp differences can be smaller than people believe. Probably the most useful takeaway of the whole test. If you're just starting out, that's encouraging. You don't need expensive gear to make serious music. Use what you have. Learn your room, move the microphone, record better performances, and finish more songs. That will improve your work far more than chasing gear myths. What could have been better? The conclusion should have been more careful. Instead of implying that all preamps sound the same, a better conclusion would be, under clean conditions in this specific test, the differences between these preamps were small. That's accurate, useful, and much harder to argue with. The test could also have covered more ground, different microphones and sources, quiet and loud signals, clean and driven settings, blind listening, and repeated trials. And what to think about presenting a blind test to more people that are split into groups of trained and untrained listeners. That would make the result much stronger. The biggest issue isn't that Jim was wrong about everything. He wasn't. It's that a narrow result became a broad statement. That happens all the time online. A useful test becomes a viral conclusion, and nuance gets crushed because it doesn't make a good thumbnail. So here's the final conclusion. Preamps aren't magic, but they're not always meaningless either. Most decent modern preamps are closer than people think, especially when used clean. But some can still matter depending on the microphone, the source, the gain level, how hard they're pushed, and the production goal before buying a preamp. Ask yourself a better question, not which preamp has the most mojo, but what problem am I trying to solve? More clean gain, lower noise, a specific color, or more headroom? Or am I hoping a preamp will fix something that should actually be fixed with performance, mic placement, room treatment, or mixing? That's the real question. Good production isn't about worshiping gear or pretending gear does nothing. It's about knowing when something matters and when it doesn't.
Part 5. Let's wrap it up.
So do all microphone preamps sound the same? No, that's too simple. But do many clean preamps sound much more similar than people expect? Yes, and that may be the most useful lesson from the whole debate. Jim Lill's test is valuable because it challenges the fantasy that expensive gear automatically gives you professional sound. But the critics are right to push back when that idea gets stretched too far. A clean preamp test doesn't erase saturation, microphone interaction, workflow, or real production choices. The honest answer isn't exciting, but it's useful. Context matters.
Okay, we're stepping out of the AI bubble. And the big question is, do all preamps sound the same? In my humble opinion, no. But seeing the video of Jim Lill, it proves to me the differences are less bigger than we used to think of. But here comes the interesting part. I did about 30 interviews on this channel, and I asked frequently about gear and recordings and performances. And they all say the same. The most important part of a good recording is the performance. And now here comes where it becomes psychological. Because if you want to do a recording at Real World Studios in the United Kingdom, or Ocean Way Studios in the USA, or in Hansa Studios in Berlin, be my guest, because if that's what makes you feel good, you will perform better. And if you record at home and you think you need a 1073 preamp or an API preamp or an SSL preamp to do what you do best in your own studio, why should you not buy it? Really. It's all about the performance, and the gear partially matters. And with that, my humble opinion, I want to end this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, or like, even better, subscribe to my channel. And for this now, it's all over. Until we meet again. Goodbye.